Coach, you win the Section 1 championship, don't lose a league game, number 1 seed in the District 3 playoffs. What's the season been like so far?
You know what? It's been beyond expectations, if I'm being honest. The idea that we thought, we have enough talent, we have enough guys returning that we could be in every game, but the ball bounced our way. You look at York, you look at Township, you look at Wilson, those are 3 games that could have went either way. The ball bounced our way this year. We were able to stay relatively healthy. And, it honestly won't hit me until it's over. Because right now, and as you know, you're just on to the next one. On to the next one. So we're completely focused on Carlisle. I'm tremendously happy about the accomplishment of the section. Tremendously. But again, I really haven't sat down to think about it. Because again, we want to, beat a very, very good Carlisle team. So we're just thinking districts right now.
When you go back to the preseason, and you have 7-on-7s, and then a couple weeks you start really getting into it. What did you think you had this year? What type of expectations do you have for this group?
Yeah, kind of what I alluded to before, I did think we could be in every game. I really did, because we had a bunch of our secondary returning. I thought we could be strong against the pass. We had some good inside linebackers returning. Deyvid and the guys up front, we had pieces. And then offensively, biggest question mark was quarterback. We lost a good quarterback in Cam Harbaugh, so we figured, how would we replace that? But we had some returning linemen, had some returning receivers, and then Grant got some touches at the end of the year and really took off. And then Stephen Ketch was a returning first-team LL League running back. So with the 7-on-7s, we knew we could compete. But, I think many coaches will tell you this, 7-on-7 is 7-on-7. So we had to see it in pads. And early on, we had some good tests where we thought, maybe we can really do this.
Going back to that Wilson game, you ended a 16-game losing streak against the Bulldogs, 17-play, 76-yard touchdown drive that ended in the final seconds. Describe your emotions after that one.
I honestly felt like I could pass out, because it was one of those situations where it was very emotional. There was a play, probably 3 or 4 plays before we scored, where it was 4th and 2, and we got hit 2 yards behind the line, and our tight end was able to break a tackle and get across the line. So there's just so many ups and downs, and we were very thankful to come away with the win, because we know Wilson easily could have a very good team. Proud of the way our guys fought. I know you're a Wilson guy. Sal Raculi had texted me, and he just texted me and said grit. And that's really, when I think about that drive, I think of grit. The toughness, we had to convert several 3rd and 4th downs. And I think, along with like the Township game and the York game, that game really propelled us to say, if we play well and we hang in games, why not? I think that's going to help us in districts.
Sal's a baseball coach, good buddy of mine as well. You played Manheim Township and beat them for the 2nd year in a row. You went there. You know what that program is all about. What does it say about where Hempfield is now to beat Township 2 straight years?
Sure. Love Mark. Mark's a great guy. If things play out, we might see him again, but it has to play out for both our teams. We have really good games in the first round. But to answer your question, it tells us that if we put in the time, if we hit the weight room, if we do the little things, we can win. And again, we talked about it as a team, and we reflected, even sometime throughout this year, that we said 3 years ago, I think they were up 42-0 at half. This is my first year. I'll never forget it, because I felt about this big. But then we made a commitment, and the seniors now made the commitment to say, hey, we know we need to lift in the off season. We know we need to attend the 7-on-7s. We know we need to be there in the summer. And what I'm trying to tell everybody that comes through the program is, if you do this, you'll have a chance. Nothing's given. Wilson year in, year out is very good. Township year in and year out. The Penn Manors, the McCaskies, the Crest, the Reddings. But it gives you a chance. Now, if you don't do it, you don't have a chance.
You mentioned Deyvid Palepale earlier. You don't see many 300-pounders that move like that. What makes him such a special player?
Well, one, he has great work ethic. There are guys that are natural talents that, you say as a staff, or you say to other coaches, man, if this kid only worked hard. But he does. He really does. He has a motor. And then 2, extremely coachable. Again, you get around guys that have talent, that are more physically talented than the guy next to him, and they say, yeah, coach, like they know it all. But Deyvid has good perspective to know that, he's going against really good high school football players, especially in districts like Carlisle has a nose that's outstanding. But also, I think he knows in the future, because he's been to Penn State, he's watched games, he knows that anybody he goes against is going to be bigger and stronger than him and just as athletic. So he knows that if he wants to produce right away, like a Nick Singleton, he has to do it now to be ready.
When you look at your defense, and we know obviously David's up front there, but you're only giving up 260 yards a game against very good competition. Who are some of the other players that have stood out on that side of the ball?
Sure. I think obviously Deyvid leads up front, and they're good complementary players like Connor Wilden and Silas Cox, Michael Schaefer. But two I'll name specifically, Aiden Shorter and Jacob Garkoska. They're in the middle for us. They do an outstanding job. They're able to play both the run and the pass, so that gives us flexibility and allows these guys to stay on the field instead of change personnel packages. And then lastly, the secondary. The secondary has done outstanding. Brian Williams and Braden Felsinger are the quarterbacks of the defense. They know it, just as good as Coach Ridinger, who's calling it. And then Gabe Benjamin has been a shutdown corner, for us. So again, to name a few players, I think that those guys stand out. But Nick Beck and other individuals have also stepped up in more of a complementary role.
You look at District 3 6A, you have Central York, you have Harrisburg. We talked about Wilson and Township. Cumberland Valley is back in the mix. I mean, these are perennial powerhouse programs. What's life like as a head coach in Class 6A in District 3?
One word is stressful, because when you look at it, and I talked to Doug yesterday at our LL League meeting, Doug Doms, and we said literally this is a year where you could interchange 1 through 8, anybody. You could put the 8 seed at 2, you could put the 1 seed at 8, and it's even matchups. It really is even matchups, when you look at it. And in all honesty, Central York should be the number 1 seed. They beat us. They're 9-1. We got benefited by our schedule. Carlisle's a very, very good team that you look at their losses. Harrisburg, State College, York, those are all good teams. York probably has the best player in the district, in Jaheim White. Cam Jones and Wilson, we know all about them. And then Manheim Township, they're such a powerful offense with a great quarterback, and some might argue the most talented team is Harrisburg. So just going up and down, I think the only thing that you can really do is just focus on your game. If you look ahead, there's no point because you'll get beat. So we're focused on Carlisle, who's extremely explosive. They have a very good defense, and after that, whatever it is, but, we know we have to play well if we want to have a chance to win.
Last thing on a light note, what's your favorite Halloween candy?
Favorite Halloween candy, without a doubt, is a Kit Kat. I like the chocolate. Sometimes, depending on the situation, if I'm at Turkey Hill or something like that, I'll just grab a Kit Kat randomly. I love Kit Kats.
Now, Deyvid mentioned candy corn, which is highly controversial. Some people really can't stand it. What are your thoughts on candy corn?
I love Deyvid, and I'm with him 100% on most things. But this one, I'm with you. You said that's usually people's worst. Hate candy corn. Hate it. Just dislike the taste. Kind of gives me an upset stomach if I eat too many. He's just flat out wrong.
Well, thanks for coming to the Recovery Zone here at SV Sports. I appreciate your time and good luck in district.
Thanks for having me.